Oh, I'm live. Okay, so thank you for anyone who's tuning in to watch this, both now and after. How's your week going? I'd love to know. Like for me, I would say right now, we're currently experiencing rain in my country, and there's some areas of flooding, which is crazy, but I'm safe and forever grateful for that. Always a blessing, right? Like always count your blessings each day. There's always like something to be grateful for, even if you're going through your worst moment. Find something. Um, I don't care. It could be for someone's smile, the food you ate, the water you drank. I mean, that's a huge blessing. For me today, it's just to be safely tucked in my room and talking to anyone who's tuning in. So, hey, for anyone who does not know me, maybe you're new to my channel. My name is Eva. I'm an intuitive energetic healer. I do work with the Akashic records and quantum flow methodology, which I realize actually a lot of people don't actually know what this are. And I'll just explain what they are shortly. Then I dive into today's topic, which is all about a download I actually just received. So one thing about me is that I have the weirdest realizations, like aha moments happen to me. Um, Usually when I'm not even doing anything concrete, okay? Sometimes it comes through meditation, through talking to my guides, through just when I'm just doing random things and then it just feels like a download just drops in my head and I'm like, whoa, how did I know that? Or how did I realize that? So today I'm gonna be talking about one of those downloads, which was an interesting way of looking at at our chosen physical reality and the kind of different paths that we take. So if you're curious about that, make sure you stick until, and watch the video because I have some incredible insights, which I hope is gonna help you like look up life in a different way, which is actually the aim for me doing this with my channel. It's just to share the wisdom that I gather. Like, because I've been working on myself for such a long time, and my whole point with this is that I don't like keeping the knowledge I gather to myself. I rather share it to the world. And because I do want to see the world get better. That's my dream, to see the world get better, to see people treat each other differently, to see kindness, to see love, to see compassion everywhere, go to see unity, to just see a better world. And anything that I can do to just help that along, I am willing to do, which is what I've been doing with this channel. So sharing my insights, because a lot of the things that I share here are things that I wish I knew a long time ago, but I didn't have anyone to teach me this. Okay. So if you're watching this, I hope I do inspire you. And let me know down below, because of course it always helps when you know that you're actually speaking to someone and it's just not to myself, right? So that I actually know that I'm making a difference, which yeah, that kind of pleases the ego, right? So we still have to deal with the ego. Yeah, but anyway, back to what I actually do. So I do work with the Akashic Records. I do work with a methodology also called quantum flow. So quantum flow is actually a technique that was designed by a man called Juanpa Pablo Barahona. He's an amazing guy, by the way, amazing teacher. Basically, what it does is that it combines a couple of different modalities. No, some people, when I explain this to them, they normally think I'm talking about yoga, but it's not really yoga. Okay, it does involve the movement portion of it. It does involve breath work. It does involve sound, and all of it is designed. It's a very systematic approach to rewiring your nervous system and approaching it in a safe way to help you release deep-seated trauma, deep-seated emotional wounds that a lot of people even don't even know actually impact them, like right now, and how they operate in the world. A lot of us are operating with patterns that have been imprinted on us from our childhood, even from when we were in our mother's womb. Patterns we've even picked up from different generations that are all part of our DNA. And basically, when we show up in the world like this, so anytime you receive or encounter a trigger that triggers that particular trauma within you, and you keep on reacting the same way, basically you're teaching your unconscious mind to kind of like make that your personal reality, right? And I'm not going to go into the science of it, but basically what quantum flow does is that it breaks down these patterns, whether you know them or not. To break them down so that now whatever future or how you operate going forward is more intentional with the person that you want to be and not based on patterns you know nothing about. No longer reacting in the same way, no longer getting triggered in the same way. I mean, I can tell you tons of stories of how I've released a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional wounds. Like I literally wake up some days and I'm like, I cannot even recall where certain triggers went because it's like I'm just a different person and it feels like it just happens instantly. But no, it's something that you work on over and over again, and then you just wake up 2 months, 3 months down the line, and you're a completely new person and you have no idea what happened. That's happened to me so many times, right? Um, so that's one of the modalities. The second one I do work with is called soul realignment, which is based on working with Akashic records, which is all about getting to your soul identity, helping you identify your soul gifts, where your soul is actually from. For the star seeds who are here, shout out to you. Um, Helping you also identify a particular lifetime, that you might have started your spirit started making negative choices, and a lot of those choices are currently affecting you right now. You might notice that you keep on attracting the same kind of experiences, the same kind of people over and over again. And the reason why that happens is because this karmic blueprint is still part of your soul blueprint. And all of that, all those experiences you keep on attracting, basically with the same like energetic underlying quality underneath them. It could be from your parents, from the friends, from the relationships you attract, from your colleagues, it doesn't matter. The reason why you keep on attracting these people is because your soul wants to resolve that karma. But for most people, they don't know what choices they made in the past that they're still repeating right now. Knowledge is such a powerful, powerful weapon. Because now once you bring awareness to a certain pattern, it's easy for you to let go of that pattern. Now, when you show up in the world, you'll be remembering based on now, if you ever get a soul relevant reading, you'll be noticing where you're still showing up like that in your life. It will be easier for you to let go. And of course, to support that, you do get an energetic clearing of your blueprint, right, in the Akashic records. So clear all this karma so that energetically you're no longer a vibrational match to those experiences. But now, what I always tell everyone is that if you're not willing to do anything different with their life, like it doesn't matter if you're still showing up the same way you normally show up, even after going through so many healing sessions and all of that, like it's pointless if you keep on doing the same thing because action is required, different action is required. You can't just go and keep on getting like 5-10 minute healing sessions, feeling good in that moment, and then you go back to how you've been doing life, entertaining the same people, entertaining the same experiences over and over. At some point you have to choose a different path because you are in control of that. And soul element empowers you with that knowledge of how to show up better. So if you're curious about it, you can check out the About section in my page, or I will leave a link to all that in the description box down below. Okay, so enough about that. I was just doing a bit of an introduction for anyone who does not know me. So today I want to talk about something interesting that I realized, one, which is that you know how like here's how it came about for me. There are like an infinite number of ways for you to arrive at the number two as an answer. Okay, so stay with me here. Okay, so you have a problem, you've been given a problem, and you've been given the solution. The solution is number two. So how you're gonna arrive at that? The teacher tells you, I don't care, as long as whatever math equation you're gonna show me, you just show me at the end how you got to that number two. So some people might decide to do, simple path, right? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Boom, hand over the paper. They pass the session. The teacher tells you, I'm not gonna control how you're gonna get to that. I just want to see the number two and evidence of how you go to the number two, okay? Okay, so someone could say, 4 minus 2. Another person could say 1 times 2. Another person could decide to use some different equation, calculus, you name it, all those things. But at the end of it all, they get to the number two. So it means that there are people who choose a simpler, easier solution, which is just available to them to arrive at the number two. And the people who choose, you know what? I wanna show my skills. I wanna show how good I am at this. So they're gonna keep on, what is it called? Go through all this different methodologies and all of that, that to show just to show their brilliance, and then they arrive at number two. Again, the teacher tells you, like, I don't care about the method, I just want you to give me the solution as number two. Okay, so I hope you're with me so far. And if you're not, stick with me, okay? So here's what I received from that. It's that, so let's say the teacher in this case is God. God created all of us and gave us this life, the physical reality, and told us, you know what? Go experience yourself in whatever way possible. Have fun, enjoy your life, experience, get to discover yourself. At the end of it all, I want you to come back to me and tell me everything that you've learned. So the end goal for all of us is you gotta come back to source with all your learned experiences, all of that, right? So as souls, there is no one who tells you. God gifted you the gift of free will. So he tells you, do whatever you're gonna do. You want to stay in the spirit world for the rest of your existence, no problem. I'm not going to control that. As long as at the end of it all, you're still going to come back to me and, share your experiences with me. Okay? So bear with me. For other souls, they'll be like, you know what? I wanna see just how far I can go. So let me choose to incarnate on Earth, for example. Okay, so when I go to Earth, do I wanna make my journey simple, the 1+1 method, or do I wanna make it like seriously complicated and just show how powerful of a soul I am? So I'm gonna get the most weird, most hardship kind of like experiences, so that I can actually have a story to tell. Okay. So again, you come now to the art experience and you're like, okay, there are people who choose the easy path as, I'm just gonna have the easiest life. I don't ever want to worry about money. I don't ever want to worry about food. I don't ever want to worry about, the basics. Like I just want to live an easy life, right? Which you've seen. A lot of people here seem lucky, right? Okay, others decide, you know what? I'm gonna choose the hardest experience. I'm gonna be born into a war-torn country. I'm gonna be so destitute. I'm gonna be the person in the streets who has no food. I have to forage. I have to hustle to get myself out of this. That's part of the experience. So those are the ones who choose the complicated path to get to the number two as their response, right? So at what point do you start judging either person on this path for having chosen a wrong path? Remember, again, you were given free will to do whatever you want to do, because at the end of it all, we all have one destination, which is going back to God or source or whatever you believe in, right? That's our goal. That's our end goal for all of us. It does not matter what path you choose. It does not matter what kind of experiences you choose to have, as long as in the end, we're all going back to God. Okay, so when you decide to look at another person and judge them for the way they're arriving at their answers, I mean, what right do you have to do that? Because what I got was this, it's that, again, you've been given free will as a soul, create whatever experiences that you have. So if you're looking at a different path and thinking, whoa, that is such an easy, like you seem like you're having an easy life. Why am I not having that? Remember, that was available to you. At an ego mind, it kind of seems like, yes, I'm struggling. I chose the hard path of, being a beggar and all of that in the streets, and that person chose an easy path. But remember that that option was also available to you. That was never denied to you at all. And you can also choose it if you so will it, right? But you chose your current experience for a reason because your soul decided, you know what? I want to experience myself in the best way possible. I want to gather all the best stories I can so that when I go back to God, like I actually feel like, whoa, I accomplished all this, even with all the suffering that I had to go through, right? So you cannot judge another for whatever path they're on. So one thing I'd like you to look at is that it doesn't matter what path you choose. First of all, it's you chose it, right? Remember, it always comes back to you. You chose that path. No one chose it for you. You had free will. So there's a reason for that, even though you're not connected to that, because a lot of people maybe might be still identified on the conscious ego mind, right? And the ego can take you places that you really don't want to go, right? But once you're connected to your soul, to your higher self, you have a remembrance of there's a reason why I chose this path, even though it looks so freaking difficult on the outside. There's a reason why I chose this because this was the best way for me to experience myself in the best way possible. Nothing wrong with my path, and nothing also wrong with the other person who chose their path because that was their best solution for themselves. They didn't want to go through the hassle of of all this drama and all that. They just wanted an easy life, and that's completely fine. Focus on your path. Okay. If you also choose maybe that I don't, um, and now this is just tying to other different experiences, other people could be scared of making a choice. And here's the download I got for that. It's that if you refuse to follow a certain path because maybe you're scared of what is going to happen in the end, what am I going to discover during the path, and all of that, like I know, like your mind can go crazy, especially when you're about to venture into the unknown. It always happens, no problem. That's basically what your ego is designed to do. That's completely fine. But you choosing not to head down a certain path because of that, the person who ends up suffering most is actually you, because you deny yourself your experience of what if things turn out way better than anything you could have ever experienced? What if you head down that path and it opens you to even bigger and better opportunities? What your ego decides to focus on is all the bad things that can happen if I head down that path. And trust me, if you're looking for a reason, 100 different reasons not to do something, you're always gonna find 100 reasons not to do something. Okay? So it always looks safer not to make a choice, not to head down certain path and just stick it to the simple, easy life. If I just stick here with the known, where I know, like I know where I'm gonna get my food, and if I go to work, I'm gonna get salary and all of that, right? Like I'm very my way is very structured, my life is very structured. It's very easy for me to just choose that path and not go towards the unknown. Okay. But again, you will never know unless you head down that path which you could have recovered, right? And the other thing I also got was that there's literally no possibility of you ever making a mistake. Because this is another thing that keeps a lot of people stuck. It's the fear of what if I go down that path and I fail, right? I fail. I make the biggest mistake just choosing that path. But the thing is, whatever path you're on, you're allowing yourself to experience the consequences of making that choice. And the consequences, even though to the outside world and even to you might look like bad, and I'm putting bad in a quote, the consequences are always there to serve you, right? So it's kind of like you might look at it like a lose situation, but from a soul perspective, it's actually a win-win situation. That whether I go there and succeed or I fail, I've still learned something. Okay. So it's not a waste. The experiences are worth something, even though you don't see it right now. But trust me, you're going to get to a point and you'll be like, thank God I took that path. Even though you feel like it was the biggest mistake of your life, and I'm saying mistake in quotes because a lot of us, of course, when you're looking at something, a challenge in the moment, it's easy for you to just judge it as biggest mistake. This is the worst thing to ever have happened to me, and all of that. But remember that where you currently are, your perspective is very limited. Okay. So you're only able to see just a couple of steps ahead. Your higher self has a higher vantage point, okay? Looking down on you from assuming like a mountaintop, so they can see everything that you're going to encounter way ahead than what you can see here. So for you right now, you might be focused on, I made the worst mistake by choosing this path. I made the worst mistake by going down this road, right? Because the only thing I'm seeing is at the few steps ahead. So maybe I'm just seeing like there's no water on my path. The terrain is rough. I can't navigate and all because I can only see a few steps ahead. But your higher self is able to see if you just decide just to cut down those whatever the rough things that are on your road, the trees and all of that. Just clear the path just a little bit. Just apply yourself just a little bit more. Up ahead, you're gonna find a lake. Up ahead, you're gonna find a tree with fruits that you need to eat, maybe because you're starving and all of that. But you can see that because your way is blocked with all this, I call it murkiness that's in front of you. So you might look at it and think like, this is the worst mistake I ever made. Why did I choose this path? But your higher self is saying, just stick with it. We didn't make a mistake. I can't lead you down a path that I know is going to make me suffer. Well, not will I do that. I'm here to experience myself in the best way possible. I don't want you to suffer because you suffering is my higher self suffering, right? And why on earth with someone who you're supposed to be merged with or whatever, be leading you down a path that is also going to harm him or herself, right? It's impossible. I hope you can understand where I'm going with this, okay? But that's what I'm saying. I know in the present moment, it might look like whatever path you're on or whatever path you chose to take was the wrong path, but I just stick with it and trust me, even though you can't see it just a couple of steps ahead, you're gonna get somewhere and then it's gonna hit you like, oh, like this was the best decision I ever made because everything that happens always happens for your greatest good, even though you don't see it. Okay, that's how I want you to look at it. So, again, there are an infinite number of ways you can do or choose to accomplish anything. It does not mean that just because someone chose that path and you chose this path, that any of the paths is better than the other. That was just the best way for their soul to experience themselves in the highest possible way. And this, your chosen path, is the best way for your higher self to experience itself in the most way. So, again, no path is better or less than the other. Any path you're on is completely perfect for whatever lesson you need to learn. And again, you cannot make a mistake, right? Because everything is just allowing you to experience yourself in the most full way possible, if I can just stress that enough, okay? And again, and this is now the last part, just to wrap things up, and I hope I made this made sense. Not making a choice or not choosing to take a risk, not choosing to go ahead because you're too scared of leaving the known for the unknown might look like it serves you, but in the long run, it will not serve you. The only thing is that it keeps you stagnant, it denies you opportunities, and the only thing it's gonna do is leave you in a pile of regret in the end. Okay. And I'm sure you've heard this if you're watching this before, that there's nothing worse than getting to the end of your journey and then having those thoughts of, I wish I coulda, woulda, done something. But now it's too late, you know? I gotta get it now right the next time. And there's no point of doing that if you have the opportunity in front of you right now, okay? So I hope everything I've shared with you today has helped you in a way. If you have any questions for me, you can, or comments, I love to hear from you. You can comment down below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed and you're new to my channel. I'm always happy to be supported by you. And yeah, check out my offerings. I'm gonna leave the links to all that, everything I talked about with the soul element and quantum flow. If you're struggling with your mental, emotional well-being and all of that, just trying to figure yourself, maybe even that connection with your higher self is missing because you're not able to hear that, especially if you're still stuck in your old wounds, your old trauma, your old stories, right? If you're still stuck in that, it's impossible for you to feel that connection or be connected to your higher self. So if you need help with getting to that connection and really getting to that inner guidance event clearly for yourself, you can check out the offerings down below. You can book a quantum flow or a soul element session. I'm always happy to help either way. And I hope if you're watching this that I will get to meet you one day and we can get to co-create together. So for now, sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next live, which will actually be my last live for the month. So I'm excited about that. Like it's been a freaking 1 month of doing this. So I'm clapping for myself. So on I think Sunday is when we'll be celebrating the end of the month. And I would love to hear from you. Like, what have you accomplished this month? Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about that on Sunday. See you then.